All right. Well, it looks like we have hit the top of the hour, so I think we're going to get this kicked off here. And welcome to the Power BI track for the Vancouver Power BI Modern Excel User Group. This is our May meeting. We're super excited to be welcoming Ancy Philip for the feature presentation to talk about AI and Power BI. Before we do that, I'm just going to go through and do a little bit of housekeeping here and get us started. So. We are obviously now into the welcome and overview section. We're going to take a couple of minutes before we kick it over to Joseph. This looks like the slide actually from our Excel one. So this isn't quite accurate. We're going to be doing a couple of minutes intro, then we're going to have our what's new in Power BI, and then around 6:15, 6:20ish, we'll kick it over to Ancy, and she's going to show us a whole bunch of really new cool stuff with AI and Power BI that we're very excited about. So. The one thing that I did want to throw out there, as always, is just a big thank you to the sponsors that make these events happen, that go and track down speakers and host the events and get the recordings out and all that kind of stuff. So my team at Excel Guru is the one that puts these together. SkillWave is our training department. If you're interested in learning more about Excel and Power BI and how to really rock your data models and all that kind of stuff, we have some of the most awesome training out there on the planet, if we don't say so ourselves. We've got a huge Power Query Academy, dimensional modeling courses, self-service BI boot camps, DAX training. We got all kinds of good stuff. So please check that out. Microsoft obviously is a huge help for us. They're providing our speaker for tonight. They provide the software that we run on here, and we say a big thanks to them always, of course. The last thing that I want to mention is that Excel Guru also puts out an add-in called Monkey Tools to help you build better Excel and Power BI models. Thank you for the applause on that one for us. I appreciate that. I will actually also be on a live stream with Reed Havens tomorrow talking specifically about this particular product. I know that Kevin Arnold has thrown a link into that session into the chat here. If you're interested, please come by. I'm going to be launching a brand new feature in that meetup that I'm super excited about. I've been wanting to get out for over a year, so it's going to be pretty cool to actually see that in play. Our next meetups, which are open for response at this point in time, next or 2 weeks from now, we've got our Excel track coming up, and we're excited to welcome back Scott Helmers. He's going to be talking about entering data in Excel and Visio, creating diagrams, which is going to be pretty cool. We actually kind of freaked him out a little bit tonight because we put out our social media to say that he was going to be on tonight, and he was a little bit worried because he hadn't quite prepared enough for his presentation yet. But once he shot me a note, we realized that we kind of made a mistake, and this is Ancy's night, so he's going to be coming on in a couple of weeks. Our next Power BI track that we have coming up, we're going to be welcoming a first-time speaker, Daniel Hughes, who's going to be talking about process mining in Power BI. So that's also going to be an entertaining session. We're looking forward to seeing people there as well. The last thing that I'm going to throw out again, if you are interested in presenting at our user group, please let us know. Fill out this short survey here. We'll get back to you, and we're going to hopefully get you onto our platform so that you can share the love that you got for the software here and show us all cool things. We love learning from other people, so we'd highly encourage you, if you think you got something cool to talk about, come check it out, and we'd love to have you as a speaker. And that's it for me on this one. So, Joseph, I'm going to turn this one over to you for what's new in Power BI.
Nice.
And excellent.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, thanks, Ken, and welcome everybody. Another month, another Power BI meetup, and I'm really excited today to present some of my favorite features from this month's new Power BI desktop release. So just before I get into Power BI and review the blog post, just going to do a little bit of housekeeping, introduce myself. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Joseph Yeates. I'm a senior financial analyst of business intelligence and data analysis at Corporate Finance Institute. So I use SQL Server, RStudio, and Power Query in Excel and Power BI to model, manipulate, analyze, and visualize data. My website and blog are up on the slides right now, feathersanalytics.com, where I blog about all things Power BI and R, but most importantly to me, my passion on how to create, curate, and communicate insights from data using these tools. I also have my Twitter and my LinkedIn profiles up there as well. I was actually the feature presentation last month presenting financial statements with DAX and Power BI. So I put the link to my presentation materials in the meetup group from last week, and it's also up on my website as well. So if you missed that session, or if you attended and didn't get a chance to see the slide deck or any of the example files, they are definitely available. So with that, why don't we jump in to what's new in Power BI for this month, for May 2021. So as always with some of the new features in Power BI, Microsoft posts a feature summary blog post. So if you just go to Power BI, you'll be able to see it in their blog, and it's always probably the most exciting day of the month for me when this gets tweeted out and I see it on some of my social feeds. A lot of the new features are first listed at the top of the blog post, so they're broken down into some different sections. And some of these ones close to the top I'm going to be reviewing today. But as we only have sort of 10, 15 minutes, don't want to take up too much time because I'm really excited for the feature presentation today. For any ones that I don't cover, and if you're interested in learning a little bit more, there is YouTube videos and blog, and like I say, this blog post that covers some of those features and some examples of how we can use them as well. But if I go into Power BI, the very first new feature that I want to showcase today is the modern tooltips. So this is a preview feature. So to activate it in a report, you have to go to Options and Settings, and then go to Options. And then this brings up the Options dialog pane. And there are two places where you may need to activate this. So with any preview features in Power BI, under the global options, close to the bottom, there's preview features. And from the blog post, if you see any features are marked with the in preview, you'll see them on this list, and then you'll probably need to select a checkbox and restart Power BI for those to go into effect. Specifically for the modern visual tooltips, if you want to activate those on an existing Power BI file, you'll also need to go down to the report settings right at the bottom of the current file options, and scroll down to the bottom here, and then there's another checkbox you'll need to check to enable modern visual tooltip. So I've already done that beforehand, but if you activate it in the preview features in the global options and it's not coming through in one of your reports, just make sure you double check the second step as well. And you may need to restart Power BI, and then you can use the tooltips. So I'm just going to come out of there. So what these new tooltips enable us to do is now when we just hover over a bar in this column chart, we can see that I have a description of what the product category is, the total balance. So those are really similar to the existing tooltip behavior or the previous tooltip behavior. But I find it a lot more readable. It's cleaner and easier to see. And one of the benefits as well is that it does pick up the some of the formatting of any theme that you've applied on your report. And then just underneath that, we also see that we have the option to drill down. So previously, we would need to right-click on our visual to drill down or to drill through. Now we can just hover, and within the tooltip itself, I can select drill down. And if I hover within the next level of the hierarchy, I can either drill up back to the previous level we were just at, or drill through, if we have that enabled, to a different report page, and I can drill through to the trend page to look at something like this. So really like that feature. Just makes the tooltip experience a lot cleaner if you're not using a report page tooltip. Just that built-in functionality, I think, is a lot easier to use and a much better user experience. The second feature that I want to highlight for this month is that small multiples are now generally available, and they have a new roadmap has been defined for them. So I have covered small multiples in a few of the previous What's New in Power BI sessions, but just to give a really quick refresher, if I have this line chart here, and so we can see that right now we have count of clients is in our values, it's a date field on our axes, and then we're differentiating the lines by client age. But if I have another column in my data set from one of my dimensions, say segment name. And I also wanted to analyze these trends of client age, but across all of these different client segments. I can now drop this in these small multiples option in the visualizations pane. And now this visual is essentially duplicated for each of my 4 client segments. So we see that same trend of count of clients by client age in segment 1, 2, 3, and 4. And actually a new enhancement for this month has been that now we can have our date field can now be formatted as a continuous axis on this line chart. So this is really nice that we don't have to deal with categorical and scroll bars, trying to get our information if we're spread out over a longer period of time. This visual doesn't offer up any immediate insights, and it's a little bit messy, but we can see that for both of the columns and both of the rows, we have a nice continuous date axis across there as well. And if I just pop back into my browser, I can just show here. So there's the small multiples roadmap updates. And with this, it covers some of the release that happened in February, March, April, some that happened this month, but also what's on the roadmap for this year and a little bit further out. So this was a great update. Small multiples was, I think, one of the most requested features in Power BI for quite a while. When it came in, I know it made a ton of folks happy, and it just keeps getting better and better every month. So that was another great update for me, and I love seeing the new functionality at all the monthly releases. One of the features that was my favorite, and I don't want to spend too much time on because I don't want to step on the toes of the feature presentation either, but now the smart narratives and anomaly detection are generally available. I'm going to skip over doing the review of those now, just because I don't want to repeat any material that may be coming later. But I've covered both of these at previous What's New in Power BI, and I think if you are a regular attendee for the Vancouver Power BI meetup group, you know that these AI visuals are, I love them. I could go on for full sessions about, just monthly updates about them. So this is really exciting that they're becoming more and more embedded into Power BI desktop natively. I think that's awesome. The next feature is actually in powerbi.com in the service, and we have a new lineage view. So this is a nice admin tool. If I go to my workspaces, and I'll just pick the Feathers Analytic workspace, if I go to the data and data flows section, previously we can just see that I only have one published data set, which I actually build my What's New in Power BI demos off of for 2021. Now we have this option for view in the top right-hand corner, and instead of a list, I can go to a lineage view. And this gives us a visual representation of all of the connections and relationships between our published reports and their data sets that they're built off of, but even the relationship between different data sets as well. So we can see the data flow between, I have an Excel file that comes and is published to a Power BI data set, and it's this data set that's feeding a published Power BI report. So it could be that some data sets are dependent on each other and data flows through. And this is just a really easy way to see those relationships between them rather than just a list view. So I think this was another awesome update and enhancement to the experience in powerbi.com. So the last feature I'm going to cover today was a marketplace visual. So I'm just going to update this visual. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to drop total cost on my values and take out segment name. So I make this a little bit narrower. So this is a fairly common scenario that we're looking at total cost over a time period. And we can see that there's some cyclicity or seasonality in the cost. Like by the end of the year, so this is the end of December, it's pretty high. At the beginning of the year, it really drops down. And then throughout the year, it increases until December, and it drops down again, and then it increases until December. So I only have 2 years worth of data here, or 2 full years of data. But even with this, you can imagine if we have 3, 5, even 10 years of data, what would be really tough to see is the actual insights or changes for the same period from last year, for example. Like comparing March of 2019 to March of 2020 is really difficult with this view. Like this is a great visual for analyzing the high level trend of cost for an organization or in this business scenario. But what it's not great at is seeing what are the trends like within months. We get that over the year costs increase, but how is our cost trending within month? So how we can address this is using the cycle plot by Nova Silva. So this is a verified visual in the Power BI marketplace. And I'm going to set it up really similarly to how I have the trend line above. So I'm going to drop total cost into my values. I'm going to drop date onto the axis. But now I need to define what I want the cycle to be. And so I'm going to drop month name in there. And what this does is that it plots over the 2 or 3 years worth of data that we have for a particular month. We can see what that data point was for December in 2018, December 2019, and December 2020. And the same thing in January, we can see what the total cost was in 2019, 2020, and 2021, and so on for all of the individual months. So we can see some insights like over the last 3 Februaries, our costs have actually gone up by almost $200. And in March, it looks a similar thing. It's gone from $250 with a median of 300, that's that gray bar, all the way up to 500. So some of these insights and some of these trends within an individual month would be really tricky to see just with a big line chart. And so pairing these two visuals together so we can see the overall trend as well as the individual trend for a given month can really help us dive into some new insights and make more informed decisions as well. So with that, I'm going to just pull up my slides once more. Those are some of my favorite features from this month. Once again, my website and blog is feathersanalytics.com. My Twitter, my LinkedIn are up on the slides there. And I'm very excited to pass it back to Ken. And I've been really looking forward to this presentation even before I presented last month. And I'm really excited to get into it. So thank you all for the time. And Ken, I'm happy to pass it back.
Awesome. Thanks, Joseph. Thanks again for another edition of What's New in Power BI. Ancy, if you want to take over the screen now, we'll turn the floor over to you. And as you're doing that, I'll just say that this was I asked Joseph, what topic do you want to see next, and this was his pick. So this is why he's super excited about it, and we are all as well. Now, just for reference here, as Ancy is doing her presentation, please let me know that this is going to be a very demo-heavy presentation. And what we're going to do for Q&A on this one here is, if you want to throw in as many questions as you have into the chat, Ancy says what she'll do is she'll run through her presentation for that block, and then she's going to review the chat and answer the questions afterwards. So I won't be interrupting her as we go along for this one. So that's the play for it. Are you ready to go, Ancy?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you and I can see your screen. You are good.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So excited to be here. I'm Ancy Philip, Program Manager in the Power BI team. I work on AI features such as anomaly detection, smart narratives, and so on. We'll be going over a demo of these features as well. Let's see, what do we have on the agenda here? We're going to go over the AI features that we have available in Power BI today. And we'll be going over anomaly detection, smart narratives, which are the two latest AI visuals. These two features GA'd this month. So you can find these in this month's desktop release without turning on any preview feature switches. So it should work out of the box. And then we'll also go over automated machine learning in Power BI. And after that, finally, we will go over automated insights, which is an upcoming feature. This was demoed at the Microsoft Business Application Summit earlier this month. But I thought I'll just show you guys what's upcoming as well. All right. So with that, I'm going to jump into the AI investments that we have in Power BI. So these are all the features that we have. and you might be familiar with these. So on the far left, you can see that we're talking about natural language exploration through AI visualizations, Q&A visual, quick insights, and this is the AI enrichment through cognitive services capabilities such as sentiment analysis, key phrase extraction, image detection, and so on. This is the automated machine learning feature I was talking about, where you can create machine learning models with writing zero code. So it's just a bunch of clicks through some screens to create models with zero code. And on the far right, here we are catering to the data scientists for them to be able to code in R and Python. So we have R and Python scripting as well as visuals. And this is the Azure machine learning integration within Power BI, where you can create machine learning models in Azure and use that within Power BI. So today we are just going to focus on this AI visualizations, the two latest ones, anomaly detection, smart narratives, and we'll talk about AutoML over here. Great. So we're going to jump into demos one after the other. So this first one is about anomaly detection. So I'm going to bring up my Power BI desktop here. Okay, so this is what we are going to build. So I'll just disable this for a moment so you can see what it looks without that. All right, so here we have this line chart that is talking about revenue by purchasing date. And you can see this report is talking about online sales and product analysis. You have sales across time, sales by product, cancellations, returns, and so on. And let's say I'm interested in enhancing this chart to automatically detect anomalies for me. So all I have to do is go to this analytics pane here on the right and click on find anomalies. You could do that, or you could go to the data drill tab and click on find anomalies, which is going to just do that in one step for you. Now, as you saw with just that one click, it enriched the chart with anomalies as well as the boundaries. So basically, if a data point falls outside the expected range of values, it's going to be flagged as an anomaly. And if you notice here on the right-hand side, we have some settings where you can configure the sensitivity of the algorithm, the anomaly shape, size, color, etc. Now, I'm going to increase the sensitivity here so you can see what happens. So here you can see that the data becomes more sensitive to the changes. So the algorithm is picking up even slight changes as anomalies. And if I'm going to increase it further, it's just going to pick up more anomalies. And if I decrease it, the algorithm is going to be lesser sensitive to data changes. So I'm going to leave it at here. And now let's say I want to learn more information about this, right? So what I can do is go and click on this anomaly here, that is going to open up a pane on the right, which is the explanations for the anomaly. So not only does this feature, enrich anomalies for you, but also it does root cause analysis to help you figure out what's going on, what's causing this anomaly, what's driving this. So here behind the scenes, Power BI is looking at revenue across different dimensions from my data model to see if this particular spike on this date correlates with a spike in a revenue from a certain dimension value. So let's see. So here you can see it says revenue was unexpectedly high on August 30th. It had a value of this, which was about the expected range of this and this. And here you have some explanations, what you can do is you can open up the card, and here you can see how it shows the line chart for this particular dimension. Let me pick a different example, which makes sense. Let's look at region is west. I think, yeah, this you can easily understand this one. So here we are looking at line chart, which calls out the revenue and also revenue for region west. So I just added to report, added the special report so you can see that more clearly. So you can see that there was indeed a spike in region west at the same time as we saw the spike in the overall revenue. So it might have been that this cost, someone trying to say something? Could you mute? Okay. All right. So this is the explanations in Anomaly. So one thing you can do is also configure. Let me click on this so you can jump to the Anomaly section. So what you can do is configure the explain by field well. So let's say I want to look at a particular seller or a city. So I'm going to drag that in and I'm going to say apply. Now, what that's going to do is restrict the analysis just to these two fields, right? So I can go and expand this, and this says that it's a 97% strength, so which is pretty high. And it looks like revenue for Shivine was unusually high at the same time, which might explain why this revenue spiked on this date. So we can go contact this particular seller. Maybe it's got to do with this seller in this city, and go figure out what's happening. So this feature basically helps you detect anomalies, as well as it does root cause analysis for you to be able to get explanations for these anomalies. So this is just a quick demo for anomaly detection. If you have questions, feel free to drop that in the chat so that I can answer it then and there as we cover each feature. So this is done. So next we're going to talk about smart narratives. So let me go back to my Power BI desktop. So smart narratives visualization, it helps you quickly summarize visuals and reports by giving you relevant out-of-the-box insights, which are customizable as well. So as you can see here, there's a narratives that's been created, and I think the shift just stopped there. Okay, so here I'll show you how to create this, as well as how you can add some dynamic values and edit these auto-generated narratives. So jumping back to my desktop, I'm going to use the same report here. Let's look at this first page that we have here, which is talking about, and close this out. Okay. So this page is talking about transactions of my online sales data. And let's say I want to get, I want to summarize this particular visual over here, right? So I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to say summarize. So that generates an automatic summary of that visualization. So you can see Power BI analyzes the data. It shows which city and region has the highest revenue per transaction and the highest number of transactions. And you can see that there was this, it shows the expected range of values for these metrics. So you can understand that most cities were below $45 in revenue and had less than 10 transactions. So this is the auto-generated text, right? But you can also add new text, or you can edit the existing text using the same controls that is available in a regular text box. So for example, here, if I were to select this and make that bold, it's just that simple. Now, I'm going to jump to the products page here so I can show you another way of triggering these summaries. So let's say this, let's go here. Okay, and I'll remove this. See, okay, so let's say we want to create a narrative based on all the visuals in this page and not just that one visual. I just need to click on this visual icon here, smart narratives in the visualizations pane. And when I do that, it's going to automatically generate a summary of my visuals talking about website visits and sales and so on. So I'm going to drag this to the right so you can see that along with all the visuals. Put that here. Okay. So here, yeah, you can see that Power BI also does this sort of trend analysis to show revenue had the most interesting recent trend with a 31% increase in the last 2 months on record. So it talks about trends. It also talks about anomalies here. You can see how we have certain anomalies over here. And there are just a wide variety of summaries that are generic based on the visual type. So this month we added support for a few more visuals. So that should cover most of the visuals that are supported in Power BI. Next, I want to show you how to edit your summaries. So let's say here, I want to customize the summary and add my own insights by adding dynamic values. For example, let's say I want to add information about the number of returned items. I can type returned items and to oops. And I'm going to click on this add value experience here. And here I can just say count. That's 10, that's that one. So this is the Q. If you guys are familiar with the Q&A visual, that's what is integrated here. And you can use that to automatically add values, and that should pop up in a second. 26,000. So it's as simple as hitting this and defining some values here. Now. You can also format these dynamic values. For example, let's click on this one. You can use any of these normal formatting options to set the decimal places at displayed as a percentage, things like that. And that should cover this one right here. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the visual interactions. For example, let me click outside of this text box right here. Let's say I want to focus only on the electronics products. So I can click that here. And what that's going to do is cross-filter the report, but the summary is also going to get updated. So it focuses on the electronic products. So the percentage numbers and everything gets changed. And the dynamic values also gets updated. So the summary is dynamic and it automatically updates the generated text as well as the dynamic values when you cross-filter and interact with the report. So these are all the things I want to talk about smart narratives. All right, so I see there are a couple of questions in the chat. So is there a list of visuals that are not supported? Yes, there are, and I can ping you the exact list. So tables is one that's not supported. There's tables, matrices, things like R visuals, Python visuals, or custom visuals are not supported, and there are specific cases within certain visuals that are not supported as well. So I'm not going to go into the details, but I'll just paste a link here which lists the limitation of the feature. Next question, can I use custom font color or background color to highlight the variables in smart narratives instead of underscore? So I think you're talking about these values, right? So here you should be able to format these values. Let's just try that out. So if I did something, sorry, not that one. Oops, I broke something here. Let's try with this one. So like that, and I'm gonna say, make it a dollar amount. Doesn't make sense, but okay, I think my build is broken. Okay, let's try the color that you were asking for. Let's do an orange color. And that. Interesting. Doesn't seem to. Oh, weird. Okay, so I unfortunately I'm not able to do that. So you can highlight the entire text or parts of text using this, but it looks like we are not able to just change the color for these variables, which I thought worked before. Let me get back on that one. Either it's a regression or it's not working in my build. Okay, do we have any more questions? Not yet. All right, I'm gonna jump back to my slides here. So the next one that I wanted to chat about is the automated machine learning feature. This is something that has already been out for in GA for more than a year now, so it's not a new feature. But I thought that this is something that was of interest to you guys, so I'm going to jump to a demo for this feature. So this is going to be in Power BI service. Let me. All right, so in this example, we are going to look at a totally different scenario than what we were looking at before. So let's say I'm not a program manager at Microsoft. Let's say I'm a program manager at a cloud service company. And we have these customers from different regions who have different interests and different roles in these companies. And I've sent out a survey to these customers asking for feedback about my cloud service, and they've given me a rating between 1 and 10, and I have that information with me, and I want to use that to build a machine learning model that can use that model to predict what my new customers, are going to churn. So based on those ratings that my current customers gave me, I'm going to find the new customers who have similar patterns in the data and figure out if they're going to give me a low or a high rating so that I can figure out customer churn. I'll show you how the data looks. So this is a premium only feature, by the way. So you need to have a premium capacity to be able to use this feature. You can also use the premium per user trial. Excuse me, the new PP trial that's going on to use some of these features as well, like AutoML and cognitive services. Now, this is a data flow right here where I've brought in my data in the form of tables. And here you can see I have this table customer feedback, which looks like, let me click on edit entities. So you can see all the fields here. So we basically want to help business analysts to build analysts who citizen data scientists who don't have much background about machine learning to build these models without writing code. So all this feature does is like show you a bunch of steps where you have to click onto some buttons and you're just ready with an ML model that you can apply to your data and make predictions. So here you can see that we have some customer information that we just spoke about, different countries, which subscription they have with us. And this is the field I was talking about where we have this information about the rating, whether they gave me a high rating or a low rating. So we're going to use some of these fields to predict this on new customers. So I'm going to jump back here and let me zoom in so you can see this more clearly. Now here there is this brain icon on the far right. So I'm going to click on that and say add a machine learning model. Now this is going to guide me through 4 steps. In the first step, I have to select the table, which is customer feedback that I just showed you guys, and the outcome column you'd like to make predictions about. So in this case, as I mentioned, we want to look at rating. So rating has a value of high and low, and I'm going to hit next. So it took a second there because it's figuring out which model is applicable in this case. So it recommends the binary prediction model, which is used to predict whether predict 2 states, right? We have a high and low, so it's recommending this model. But I can also go and click here to select a different model, so you can see the models that are supported right now in AutoML. So it's general classification, where you can have multiple different classes to predict more, that is more than 2. And then you have the regression case. This is grayed out because it's not a numeric value. So it's preventing you from choosing that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on binary prediction here. And it asks me to choose the target outcome that I'm most interested in. So I'm most interested in customers who are likely to churn. So I'm going to select low ratings. And if they gave me a low rating, they are at higher risk of churning. So I can say this is these customers are at risk, and if not, I can call them they're not at risk. So this is just so that you can see these predictions in the model training report. Now I hit next. And this screen is going to help you select the fields that should be used in creating the machine learning model. So it's taking some time here because it's trying to recommend fields automatically. So here you can see these are all the fields in my table. It did not select customer ID. It says it's suspiciously highly correlated with rating. Of course, the ID is not going to help us predict if a customer is going to give me low or high ratings. So I'm going to leave it as such. You can change these selections. So I think tenure makes ton of sense to be included. So this is based on a sample of your data. So you need to validate that this is in fact according to your business knowledge about the data. And here it says last name, it has too many distinct values, and email, it has too many distinct values, so that's not going to help you predict the rating. So I'm going to uncheck this one as well. And the continent is only one value, so I'm going to leave it as such. Once I'm happy with my fields, I can go and select next. There's a last step where I have to give a name for my model, and I can configure the time here to decide, how long I want to train this ML model. So if it's just like a proof of concept and I want to test out if I'm choosing the right fields or not, then I'll just probably do like 10 minutes or so. But if it's something that it's something that's going to be in production and I want to verify that this is the best model that is possible, then I would drag it to the right, so we can train it for a longer time. So once that's done, you can hit save and train at the bottom right corner. And what that's going to do is kick off the model training. And here you can see that it split the table into training and testing data. And we'll get to this part in a second. So once that's done, once the training of the model is done, you can go to this machine learning models tab right here. You can see there's a model created, and you will click on this button here, which is the view training report. So this report would summarize the performance of the model, and it'll show you all the different algorithms tried. So there are some 30 plus algorithms, and there's so many hyperparameter tuning that goes on behind the scenes before recommending the best model in your case. So here you can see there are some 40 iterations with different kinds of models like logistic regression, light GBM classifier, and so on. So it shows you the model quality along with the type of the model. So that's the training details. You can see if missing values were imputed in your data, if so, what was used. These were the final model parameters that was figured out. And here you have the model performance page, which talks about numbers like precision, recall. 91% looks good. And this page is mostly for someone who's more interested, maybe a data scientist or someone who wants to look at things like cumulative gains chart RC and so on. So once you're happy with the model performance, what you do is click on Apply Model on the top. So this for this to work, you need to first bring in a table that contains the information that you want to, the data that you want to predict on. So in this case, I want to use this model to make predictions about my new customers, right? So I have that in a table here. So that those were the extra tables that you saw earlier. And I can select that and give a column name or set a threshold and hit save and apply. You can set the threshold using a tool that we have here by changing this and figuring out what precision and recall you want here. Now, once that is done, what would happen is you're going to, all right, so you're going to see two new tables generated, which the first one contains the predictions. So I'm going to click into that. Oops. It contains the it'll contain the predictions such as if the new customers would give me a high or a low rating, as well as it gives you some explanations for those predictions. So I'm going to show you. It looks like I broke something here, but I'll jump to a report that contains these predictions from that data. So in order to make these model predictions interpretable, we share this. We have this notion of explanations, feature-wise explanations. So let's say I look at my first customer here. This is a customer who's likely to give me a false its prediction is false, which means they are likely to give me. Okay, this doesn't. It's not a good example. Let's look at John. Okay, so here you can see that the prediction is false. So this is false for low rating. So this is not, he's not likely to churn, but here you can see how the contributions from every feature in the model is contributing towards the predicted score. So there's a score associated with each prediction, which tells you if it's false or true based on the threshold that you set. So you can see some features have a positive influence and some features have a negative influence. So it might be that he has filed very less tickets with us, so that decreased the score, which resulted in a false prediction. Or he's in a certain role that which is a role in August publisher, which kind of increased the score, as in it had a positive influence. And these two numbers are added to something called the base score, which is the probability of the class in the training data, and it gives you the score, which helps you make this prediction. So this kind of helps you understand what was it's not just a black box prediction, but kind of tries to explain what might be the reason, what might be the factors that was associated with getting this low score. So this is a demo of the automated machine learning feature. Any questions, please put that in the chat. Looks like I did not have any from the last time. Yes. Okay. Oh, Donald, nice to see you here. Is this already available? Yes, this is a feature that has been out for like a year now, so it's generally available right now. Okay, so next we are going to talk about the new feature that is not yet shipped. It's coming up in a few months. This was announced at the Microsoft Business Application Summit, as I mentioned. And if you're interested in signing up for a private preview program for this, I'm going to share a survey link at the end, so you can input your email ID there, or you can give us feedback on this feature, so we can use that to in our public preview release. Okay, so I'm going to go through some slides here. So these are screenshots from our demo here. So I don't have a live demo because our devs are still finalizing some things, some features here. So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of slides, and then we will take questions if there's more questions. I think we have time until 7:20, or was it 7:05? I think the slide said 7:05.
Yeah,
I think
7:20 if you like, Ancy. You can take you as much time as you want to give, for sure.
Got it. Okay. Then we have plenty of time. I'll take my time to go through this. Okay, so excuse me. So here in this report, we're going to talk about a situation where, let's say, the analyst or the report author hasn't added anomaly detection or smart narratives for the end users to explore, right? So what do we do in these cases where we have not added this to the report, and how can we empower our users to get these capabilities themselves without relying on the report created? So this is where automated insights comes in. So on the top, on the ribbon here, you can see there's this new icon, entry point for get insights with a light bulb. So this is the new feature. You can either click on this, or let's say you go to a new report, you're opening up a report. What this does is it automatically runs in the background and tries to give you a notification about the insights in your data if there are interesting insights. So in this case, it tells me, hey, we found insights in your data that'll help you make data-driven decisions. So I can click on this toast or I can click on this light bulb here. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and this is going to bring up this insights pane right here. And we have automatically run some analysis and found these insights about this data. So here you can see that there is some anomalies in our data, and Power BI highlights that there is a recent anomaly on April 24th where we had a spike in defect quantity. So this is like a marketing analysis example where we are talking about defect quantity, downtime, and so on in our caused by the materials that were supplied by different vendors. And there are different insights like trends and KPI analysis. We plan to keep on adding more insights. So if you have any particular interest in certain insight, let us know in the survey that I'll share later. You can also take actions on these insights by clicking on these buttons here, which is like deleting or saving. We'll also have ability to share these insights out and so on that's coming. But here you can see that there's a notion of top insight versus all insight, right? So the top insights are the ones that we think is the most interesting or the most important to you. So it's based on things like recency and significance of the anomaly and trend, for example. And only in such cases do we pop up the toasts notifying you about these insights. In other cases, you can go click on this light bulb to get to this experience where you can see all insights. I'll go to that section in a second. So we are right here looking at these insights, and let's say I want to learn more about this anomaly here. I can click on that, and we're going to automatically get explanations for this anomaly. So this is combining the anomaly detection and the smart narratives feature that we already saw. So this right here is directly from that feature. And it looks like we have a defect with batteries, and it's got to do with a particular vendor. So we can follow up with that vendor and see what's going on with the batteries that they're supplying. Now, we also, if you go back and look at the second trend, second insight, there's a trend here in downtime minutes. So you can click into this and understand what's happening here. So this these explanations that are generated is leveraging the explain, the increase and decrease capability in Power BI that already exists today. So here, all the downtime seems to be coming from a particular plant in Madison, Wisconsin, and there's also material type and vendor that's coming up again. So it looks like it's the same problem, and that the effects is related to the downtime. The defects that we saw earlier is related to this downtime. So without slicing and dicing manually, you can piece together an entire picture of what's going on with the help of such feature. Now, the final insight that we have here is the KPI analysis at the bottom. So this figures out if a KPI, in this case, units produced, is not on track, and one of the slices of the data that is significantly below the target, in this case, laptops, which looks like we are having a production issue with laptops in our manufacturing plant. So these are all the top insights, and as I said, you can go and explore other insights using the All tab on the top that Power BI has found. So for example, it talks about significant anomalies, steep trends, etc., that we did not see in the other tab. So these are insights that you need not look at immediately, but you want to spend if you have more time to explore, you can go to this tab. So this would work on any and every report. any page of an existing report. You can jump pages, switch between pages, and it's going to automatically update these insights for you. All right, so this this slide is just referring to how you can directly click on that entry point as well to open up that insights pane. So with this feature, you can empower a user to start getting insights from the data without anyone setting up anything for them. So with just zero effort, users can start getting insights. All right, so I think that is the end of my presentation. So these are the links to all the features that I presented today, which covers the documentation, limitations, etc. And I will drop this link in the chat so you can take this survey. So this there are some questions that you can answer for if you have any feedback about that feature. The one that I just showed you, Automated Insights, and you can drop your email there to if you want to sign up for a private preview, which is releasing in a couple of weeks, actually. So I'll just drop that here in the chat. Okay, let's see what questions we have. I like how the light bulb makes insights more visible. Yes, we wanted to highlight that whenever there is an noteworthy or an insight in the top section, but that's not going to light up when you just have, insights in the all section, which is just general insights. Is the new insights feature premium or PPU only? Yes, if you have a PPU trial, though, you can still get these insights. So you'll be able to use this with PPU trial, or if the report is in a premium workspace. Do we have an MS Learn path just for AI in Power BI? Unfortunately, we do not. There are some videos that I recorded, some training videos for some of the features in the ones that I showed you here. Oops. Oh, all right. For these AI visual skills, key influences, decomposition tree, and this one on AutoML as well. So let's see, and Q&A as well. Yeah, so if you want to get those training videos, I can send them to you. We are planning to publish them very soon, so it would be available publicly, and you can. It takes you through like different reports, different steps to try it out in that data, and there's detailed videos that's not covered in the documentation. I'll just drop my email here so you can ping me your email ID and I will share that folder with you, which has those training videos and presentations. Okay, any other questions? I think that's the end of everything that I had planned for today. It looked like we finished earlier than I originally thought we would.
All right. Well, any other questions, folks? Please do throw them in the chat. While you've got Ancy here, and she's the one that gets to work on this stuff and actually go and make sure some of the stuff gets implemented. So Danielle's is mind blowing, and I mean I agree. There's some really cool stuff in here, Ancy, and looking forward to playing around with some of the stuff a little bit more. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, if I guess if there's no other questions here, I guess we'll wrap up for tonight. I
It
just want to
sounds
say,
like I did an awesome job presenting. There are no questions at
I think
all.
I think you blew everybody's minds as what's going on. So, I got to say, personally, from myself, and I mean many analysts I know, we really appreciate the work that you guys are doing in this space. And I know that I was just doing a self-service BI boot camp and showed somebody some of the smart narratives, and I mean the comment that you get back is, "Wow, that just wrote my report for me. What am I going to do now?" So, I mean, it's really cool when you start seeing some of this stuff in play, and we really appreciate the great work you guys are doing here. So thank you so much for coming and doing this for us. We really appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get you back again some point in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everyone. If you do have any questions that comes up, if you're watching this recording, or for those on this call, feel free to email me, ping me on that ID that I just shared, and I'll be happy to answer any questions offline.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ancy. All right, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording on this one now, and we will get this posted up on my YouTube channel within the next 24 to 48 hours. Outside of that, remember that the next meetups are open for RSVPs, so hopefully we will catch you guys in another one. Thanks very much for coming.